Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Brothers Take podcast. I'm Chris. I'm joined once again by my brothers, Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room this week for our main topic to talk Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is fucking out. Yes! But, before we get to that, we will also be talking about the 20th anniversary of Meteora. We kind of gave a little bit of our thoughts on that before when Lost came out. Fuck! New music from Linkin Park, crazy. But the 20th anniversary it was like a couple of days ago as of time of recording. So we want to properly acknowledge that. And Eric is also going to give us his non-spoiler review of the new John Wick movie. Is it just called John Wick Chapter 4?
That's it. It's John Wick Chapter 4.
Excellent. So that's all the goodness that we've got for you this week. But of course, we'd love to hear from you guys too. So if you're watching this on YouTube, jump down to the comments at any point to share your thoughts on either Meteora and all your favorite memories of that album over the last 20 years. On John Wick Chapter 4, if you've seen it, please don't spoil on us, but let us know what you thought of it. And on Resident Evil 4 Remake, if you guys are playing it, or if you're not playing it yet, if you haven't picked it up and you have questions that maybe we don't get around to answering, feel free to drop your question down in the comments and we will get back to you. But yeah, let's not beat around the bush too much. If you enjoy this, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for future content. To those of you who are listeners on audio platforms, you could also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give you your take on everything we bring up in this week's episode. But without further ado, if you've heard us before, welcome back. But if you're new to the podcast, welcome, stranger. Okay, let's start with the Meteora 20th anniversary. Obviously, the big collector's box is still to come. I think it's coming out in like 2 weeks' time or something like that. But the actual 20th anniversary of the launch of Meteora happened on March 25th. And I think the night before, released another song, an unreleased song for it called Fighting Myself. Did any of you guys check it out? Give it a listen? Give it a spin? Eric did not.
Sure
I could
did.
tell. I could tell. Adam did. I knew he would. It's okay. It's okay, Eric, because you'll be talking all the John Wick, and we won't be able to say anything about that. So,
That's true.
Adam, what did you think of Fighting Myself?
It was awesome. And the video was awesome. That was weird with the video. It's like I guess it's one of those visualizers that happens now when it's like either lyric-based videos or just audio only. But it's the amount of work gone into it. It's stunning. It almost looks like I don't know, the Skyward Sword concept art mixed with Genshin Impact or something.
Yeah,
It's
it reminds me.
gorgeous.
It reminds me of when people used to like back in the day. It was a big one to put anime clips to the reanimation version of crawling,
Yeah,
and it reminds me of like that kind of thing.
yeah.
The
The song itself is great.
song itself is great. A lot more. There's mic rapping on this one,
Yeah.
so I think Eric, you'll dig that. I think it does. I prefer Lost. I think this one does. Like when you hear it, like Lost, you hear it and you go, "Why was that not on the album?" Right?
Yeah.
With this one, I can hear it. I'm like, "This is a B-side. I get it. This is a I can understand why this wasn't on the album,
I will
but
put it on.
I know you would have, but." That's not to say it's not awesome. It's great. And I think specifically when they get to the bridge onwards, it really comes together. And there's something really cool going on in the bridge where Mike and Chester are singing together.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen in the Meteora era all that much.
No.
So
We didn't really
that
get-
bit's really interesting.
That could be why they left it off then, because it could have been like
We're not ready for it or something.
something like, it doesn't really fit with the rest of the album, considering the rest of the album, it is very much Chester sings and Mike raps, and that was very much their early identities with the first two albums. So maybe that's why they might have left that off. And then Lost doesn't really have Mike rapping at all on it. So again, maybe that's the reason.
I feel like with the vibe of it, it came down to, are we putting this on or are we putting on Figure Point oh Nine?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I prefer this song over some of the songs that are actually ended up on Meteora.
Sure.
And the reason I like it is because I think this sounds more Hyper Theory than it does Meteora, and I think that's why it didn't get on.
Yeah, I think that's true. And maybe it's a much earlier demo. Like,
Yeah, because it actually
coming
does.
off of Hybrid Theory. Yeah,
It sounds like
got Hybrid Theory vibes for sure.
the reanimation version of Place for My Head a bit. The guitar work.
Yeah.
So and partially some of the kind of backwards vocals at the beginning also sounds Reanimation era.
Yes.
So I feel like they were probably experimenting already, and some of it, you know, it's probably Mike who's like mixing it, and then you'd probably have Brad come into the studio and go, "No, that just sounds like that one," and that's enough for him to go, "No, okay, then it's a no."
Yeah, of course, yeah, possibly, yeah. The drums are great on it too.
Yeah, that sounds really high
solid.
theory.
Like, yeah, very much so. That's very much, yeah. Yeah, now that you've said that, actually, that makes a lot of sense, and maybe that is why it's not there. Like, because as similar as the two albums are, like, you can tell it's the exact same band and all that kind of stuff. There is a difference in, like, there is a sonic difference between Meteora and Hybrid Theory.
Yeah.
And yeah, now you've said, I agree with that. This track does sound more Hybrid Theory, whereas Lost is very Meteora.
Yes. Yeah. And Lost could even exist on, you know, Minutes to Midnight nearly. It's like
It could.
It's almost bridging the gaps between where they're gonna go.
Yeah, well, it's got kind of a Lost could have been a fucking Transformers song. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
Lost
almost
is like that New Divide kind of shit. Like it's epic, like, you know. But yeah, it's a great song, and I can't wait to hear more as well. The fact that there's going to be a couple more that have vocals that we've never heard before, it's sick, and everyone sounds great on it. It's a good song.
Yeah,
if you haven't heard it yet, guys, I recommend it. But speaking on Meteora, just to give it its like 20 years of Meteora, your top 3 tracks.
Top 3 tracks from Meteora.
Top 3 tracks from Meteora. That's what I want to know.
It's interesting because it's like, I remember when the album first came out, my top 3 then is absolutely not my top 3 now, I don't think.
I totally get you, and I think it does change over time.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
When you have an album first, you know, the songs that stick out to you, versus 20 years later, what songs have kind of stuck with you for 20 years, or which songs do you find yourself over that amount of time coming back to more often, or adding to playlists, or, you know, or wanting to hear live, or after hearing live changes how much you like the song, or those kinds of things. Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with that sentiment. But now, what would be your top 3 versus when it first came out? I know when it first came out. I bet you. Can I just Don't Stay was definitely one of your top 3 when it first came out. No. Fuck.
No, somewhere I belong.
I'm leaving this podcast. Somewhere I belong. Yeah,
that would have been, obviously, because it was the single back then. So that was like the first taste of Meteora. But actually, I actually find that song pretty boring, and even live, it's really boring. I think it lacks energy or something.
Interesting.
No, Don't Stay Now would probably be my top 3. And that was like a song where I was like, yeah, it's fine when I first listened to it, but it's all because of the opening to Live in Texas.
Yeah.
What an opening. And I think they should open every concert with that song.
Yeah, awesome. Well, if not with that, then Paper Cut.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the 2 of them are just banger openers, you know.
Faint.
Of course.
Yeah. So good.
I imagine that's in like nearly everyone's top 3. Like, this is just it's always, that song is so, like, it's short and concise and does everything you want, to the point where like you always want to spin it again.
Yeah, and you can tell
never feels too long. You're never like, oh, not this one again.
But I think what makes me, I think like when that first album first came out, Faint wasn't really one that stood out to me a lot. I think when it first came out, it would have been like Somewhere I Belong, maybe Easier to Run, and Numb, I guess, obviously. And to this day, Numb still is in my top 3. But it's when you hear things like, when you hear Don't Stay Alive, it's fucking amazing. The stuff they do with Faint, you know, they make Faint more interesting as years go on.
Yeah, because when they extend the outro and stuff.
Yeah, they keep like doing extra shit, like whether it's collab with Jay-Z or it's you know, like a big ass drum solo from Rob. or just mixing it in with previous songs. Sometimes they'd like kind of blend two songs together. Wasn't there like Faint with Bleed It Out or something like that? Did they do that before?
No, they've done it to Bleed It Out a lot, and they expertly, and I don't know why they ever from any other tour changed this. Like they went on to do other things with it. I'm like, you should never do that. You should keep this as your final song on every set. And it was they expertly mashed Bleed It Out with A Place for My Head. And if you haven't heard them do it, guys, check it out. It's fucking
Is that the live
seamless. It's live in Madrid.
Oh yeah,
it is fucking seamless. It's so good. But anyway,
yeah. So it would be
Faint is great.
Don't Stay, Faint, and Numb.
Cool.
I don't think Numb is ever really going to be knocked off. As there's a weird thing with Numb. It's like if you ask anyone to play Linkin Park, that's the one they'll put on, and that gets a bit like, yeah, okay. But
yeah,
for a reason though. Like that's their, I guess, that's like their Enter Sandman or Nothing Else Matters kind of thing, right? If people don't know Metallica, they know those songs, and that's this with Linkin Park, I think. So yeah, probably. Yeah. The only thing with Don't Stay is like that really depends on what fucking day of the week you get me. Because that one will switch. Faint and Numb are kind of a constant, but Don't Stay might switch out for.
I get you, because I have my three and one of them might switch too. Yes, I totally get you. Eric, top three Meteora tracks.
I'm going up, Faint.
Yeah, I know. Like Faint's gonna be in everyone's. Like, come on.
Yeah. Breaking the Habit. I do like that. That was one. I didn't listen to that much when I was younger, but so as I got older and a little bit more kind of appreciative for music, is when I kind of really started listening to Breaking the Habit. I do believe, Chris, you were the one that introduced me properly to it. So, that one's there. And then for me, it like Adam with the way Don't Stay kind of keeps swapping in it. For me, it's between Somewhere I Belong and Numb. These are Somewhere I Belong. Yeah. It's because that is the song they always play it on Scuzz, and it's got that music video with the elephant things that just looked awesome. So it just has that special place in memory. And then because it's Numb. No, like everyone plays Numb. It is that kind of staple song for Linkin Park. Not that I do think there are other better songs in the catalog of Linkin Park, but that is just the one that everyone knows and puts on. So it's between Numb and Somewhere I Belong.
Yeah. So for me, Faint. Obviously, Breaking the Habit. I fucking love that song. And for me, it's so interesting. My third one is switches between Somewhere I Belong. I love that song. I prefer that song to In the End. And I find the two similar, but I think Somewhere I Belong is more interesting in the music. And so it switches between that and Lying From You. I fucking love Lying From You. I think it's just sick because it's real hip hoppy and real heavy at the same time, and I love that.
Sure,
but yeah. So those would be. Well, I take at the moment it's Somewhere I Belong. I'm finding myself listening to that a lot. I love the intro. Do 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 do. Like I just love the way it builds up. I think it's great. But let us know your own, guys, and happy 20th anniversary to Meteora. Let us know what are your top 3 tracks from that album, and if you have any cool memories or if you remember the first song you ever heard from that album or the first time you listened to that album or whatever. Any stories you want to share, do let us know. It'd be awesome.
Now I'm kind of interested to know what your favorite Linkin Park song is ever.
Mine? Or Eric's,
because I think that would actually change if we did like an anniversary of Minutes to Midnight discussion.
Oh, sure.
By the time we get there, that answer will change probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, I think, you know what? I think like there's gonna be a song that's always in your top 3. I think, and then the other 2 maybe move around and stuff. But there's gonna always be one that like I think just no matter what just sticks with you. You know what I mean? Like when you get to Minutes to Midnight, you're like, fucking Bleed It Out is in there. You know what I mean? Bleed It Out is just so fucking fun. It's like Faint, but like in terms of how short and fun it is, but it's but different instrumentation. So
that's one where I'm like, I just wish Bleed It Out was that little bit longer because it's such a.
Yeah, and then you play it live, and they do that. They make it longer.
That's great.
Their longest song ever.
And
Yeah, that's amazing.
but it's got such a party attitude that when it is played live and everyone's like clapping
Yeah.
along or dancing along to it, like it becomes a party, and that's why it's such a good finisher song.
Good fun.
Because it is good fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know, guys, your top 3 tracks from Meteora. Tell us why Nobody's Listening is in there, please.
Because nobody's listening.
It is really interesting seeing some of these. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the tracks that come out. Just the decisions that were made, because I do love these two new songs, and I do love them more than some of the songs that actually ended up on Meteora. It's so interesting seeing like the choices they made, and it's similar to like if anyone's listened to Minutes to Midnight, the deluxe edition, there are 2 songs that didn't make it to the album. You're kind of like, why the hell not? You know, like because there's some songs on Minutes to Midnight that could easily be replaced because they kind of slow the pace of the album a bit.
Yeah, and they're not memorable. Like nobody remembers In Between.
No, and that's the one
And
that
then
should be replaced.
yeah, and then you have another, and
No
that's
Roads
obviously absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's a Mike Shinoda centric song, and then you find that there's a bonus track called No Roads Left, which is also a Mike Shinoda centric song, and you're like, not only is this a better song and way more impactful, and could have been a single had it been actually on the album, but Mike's vocals are way better on this than they are on In Between. Is such a relaxed, like you're in the bath song.
Yeah, In Between is like I guess when it almost sounds like Sherlock, he's trying. That's kind of how it sounds.
Yeah, kind of.
But when you hear No Roads Left, that like it's just a stark difference. You can't believe that those vocals are coming out of him.
Well, here's a fun game then. Could everyone let us know if you're up for it, or if you know the album? Could you let us know if you had to replace 2 of the tracks from Meteora with Lost and Fighting Myself? So if they had to go on the album instead, not as extras, instead, which 2 tracks are getting cut just out? So I'd love people to like jump in and let us know that. That'd be fucking sick. Adam, do you know straight away which 2 are gone?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And sorry, you can't pick forward. You can't do that because that's really just the intro to Don't Stay. So you can't just add a whole extra song and get rid of the 7 seconds of forward. That's the one rule.
13 seconds.
Oh, sorry, 13 seconds.
So now it's too long, and you just might as well get rid of it. Fucking 13 seconds intro.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know. Moving on to our next topic. Eric has seen John Wick Chapter 4, which I believe is the longest
2
John
hours
Wick
and
movie.
49 minutes. Me and my dad went and saw it.
Wow.
Me and Dad saw it sitting in a recline. Both of us very tired. But we sat down, stayed awake, and enjoyed it. We did enjoy it. We don't think it's better than the first one.
Yeah, because a lot of that seems to be a lot of the consensus, isn't it? That this is the best John Wick. It's getting very highly reviewed.
The first one's the best. Because the first one just perfectly balanced.
I don't doubt it. I haven't seen it, and I totally agree with that statement.
What I've heard is that this is the best of the sequels, but not better than the first one.
Okay,
that's what I've heard. But I'd love to hear Eric's thoughts since he's actually seen it.
I've seen it. Okay, so cinematography, choreography, lighting, and soundtrack are awesome. They're amazing, right? Mm-hmm. There genuinely is a track in it, and like my jaw started to drop. I was like, "This is actually amazing piece of soundtrack."
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually really fucking good. And again, like the choreography, obviously they've always been experts at that since the first one. So like that you just expect that. You expect that kind of somewhat brutal combat that they have in it. Lighting again. There's just sometimes it's so good. But when going into this movie, this is why I'm very surprised that people are saying this is the best one. This is the best sequel.
Okay.
Right? So it's 2 hours, 49 minutes long.
Yeah.
2 hours of that is fighting and 49 minutes is story.
I mean, that sounds exactly right. No, but okay.
I do think that some of the fight scenes go on way too long.
Okay.
To a point, like there's a bit when he's driving and there's all like I mean, it's John Wick, so obviously everyone in the world is trying to kill him. So he has like fucking fighting 100 people and everything. But he's in a car and the windshield is gone. The fucking two doors are gone off it. And he's just driving around these people who are like hiding behind cars. And it goes on for maybe about fucking 5 minutes. Just him driving in a circle shooting at it. I was like, this is way too long.
Okay.
But it's Donnie Yen is great in it. Donnie Yen's in it. He's
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Hiroyuki Sanada's in it. He's fucking great. Bill Skarsgård is in it. My God, is he an asshole? It's great. So everyone in it does such a. I didn't realize how bad of an actor actually Keanu Reeves is until this movie. like I knew he wasn't good, but this movie was really just
What are
like
you talking about? He's great.
He's brilliant. He's the only actor that can make a two-syllable word. Yeah.
No, there was two lines in it. I was like, man, you're not even trying. Like, you're just saying that line.
Eric, stop being harsh. That is him trying.
But there's other times that when he's under stress,
Yeah.
he fucking gives it socks. But it's just kind of when he's really calm, it's kind of just.
You need like a good comparison. You should watch Dracula now. Just after seeing that, you should watch Dracula.
Probably, yeah.
That's
So
him.
perhaps
Yeah, that's him. Not great, let's say.
that's because he's trying to put on an English accent as well. Isn't
No, that's not what it is. I mean, he fails at that too. But
But how's his stunt work? Because I mean, he's a pretty incredible stuntman.
Oh, I mean, he's John Wick. He fucking absolutely kicks ass throughout the whole thing. Actually, an interesting thing about this movie that I found while watching it is that while it's called John Wick Chapter 4, it seems to kind of more almost look like you're seeing the story of John Wick from other people's perspective.
oh, that's
Okay.
cool. I like that.
So it's like, because in the third one, when he's trying to get somewhere else because he's excommunicated, he has to go through all this shit to get there.
Excommunicado, Eric.
Excommunicado, sorry.
Sure.
In this, it's like he has to go somewhere, and you're seeing him go there, but you're only seeing it from kind of someone else also seeing him going there.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a little
cool,
bit
okay.
like you're just sort of seeing his story through. Now, when it comes to the fight scenes, no, you're seeing him kick absolute ass in it the whole time. But it does look like sometimes it is told through
So it's
everyone
like
else's
you're nearly
perspective.
following the people who are hunting him.
Sometimes there's one guy in it. He is a tracker, so he's
Right.
tracking John Wick. So sometimes it is slightly more told from his perspective, and there are some new cool additional characters in this that I can see them expanding on the series and expanding on them more.
Right.
There is some cool additional characters like Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen was pretty fucking awesome.
Well, then here's the question I want to ask: worth a watch in the cinema, or wait for it to come out on Blu-ray?
I don't know. Go to the cinema, have some crack. Like, it's good crack movies. Let's go on.
Like, does it benefit from the big screen,
Lack of
speakers, all
pausing
that
to
stuff?
go toilet.
Yeah, the benefits from the lack of pausing to go toilet.
Well, I suppose that would only make it longer.
That would only make it.
So, yeah.
There's
Fucking awesome.
there's one, like now a lot of movies do the one take thing
Mhm.
for fight
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
So obviously this still does that, which is again awesome. There's actually they do the thing where there's mirrors and you don't see the camera, and it's really impressive. They do that thing again, but this one's much more slight when they do it. But they've done a version of the one take in a really impressive, awesome way. Like I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you just to see it and experience it. But it's great. I think that was for me and Dad. I was like, that was probably one of the best moments. Like just that one take was really impressive.
Like, obviously, it's the longest one, and maybe because you're saying like some of the scenes really needed to be cut down, and that's some of the elements of like, oh God, like this is like a very long movie. Maybe it hurts the pacing a bit, but it got the best action sequences. Do you think in the series so far?
Um, they probably could. I actually the movie flew by for me and Dad. It actually did fly by.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
all
so
right.
even though it was 2 hours 49 minutes, it did actually fly by. So it is a very enjoyable movie to watch.
Yeah.
I think it probably could have had some of the best fight scenes in it if the fight scenes were not so long.
Oh,
Because it
okay.
genuinely gets to a point where you're like, where are the do they just have these henchmen like fucking on conveyor belts just to drop them whenever they need them or something? Like there it does get to a point where it's like,
It
where are
becomes a
these
video
people?
game.
It's absolutely a video game. Like this
So this is a
John
video
Wick at
game movie.
this it's a video game movie. Well, probably one of the best video game movies. And John Wick is like he's a superhero at this point. And just the shit he survives, getting hit by cars, getting chucked off a balcony, hitting a pipe on the way down that balcony, then slapping off the concrete floor. It's like, yeah, you know what? You take your green herb there and you just keep going.
Can I tell you? You just reminded me of a pet peeve of mine
Okay,
in
happy.
movies, and a lot of movies are doing it nowadays, and I hate it. I hate it so much. When a character is falling to their death, nowadays the character always has to hit something on the way down instead of it just being a straight fall. And I hate it. I hate when the fall gets interrupted. Prime example being in what is an amazing movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes,
Mm-hmm.
when the villain is killed at the end and he's let go, and it's really dramatic, but that drama is interrupted by a whoosh on the way down. I hate it. Just fall straight, done. There's loads of things to it now, and it's a real pet peeve of mine. I hate anytime someone hits something on the way down. I think it's to make it more violent or more. I hate it. I think it really steals the drama. But anyway.
Okay, well, there's at least one point in this
Yeah,
when John falls and hits something on the way
that's what I mean. I was like, just let him hit the ground. It's enough pain for me.
I'm wondering if the only reason they do it, like, I don't know why they would do it with like the end of a villain
death scene. Yeah.
But if it's for a hero, maybe it's to kind of soften the because it'll slow you down, wouldn't it, if you hit something?
Break the fall.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the.
Yeah,
the only one
you'd still break ribs when you're hitting a metal pipe and then hitting concrete floor.
The only one that did
Honestly,
it well with a
I'd
hero
break a
character.
rib just getting off my couch, to be honest.
Oh yeah, the only one that did it well with a hero character is in Spider-Man 2 when he's trying to jump
my
again
back.
and he falls and he hits the car. And that's done
me
really
getting
well.
up, Norn.
Yeah, I
They-
relate.
So with this movie, then, why is this not better than the first one? What is it about the first one that is
Well,
better
I
than
think
this
the first one it perfectly balances story, motivation, choreography, and fight scenes. Like you still have those one take fight scenes, but now he's only fighting like 2 or 3 people, but he does take them down quite easily, and then maybe the last person he has a bit of a scuffle with because it just so happened. This one, it's fucking like, I mean, do you remember, right? So remember the end of the third movie when he has to like constantly shoot those guys at the end in the Continental because they had that bulletproof armor.
Yep.
They were like the special enemies at the end of the game, so the game was much harder then, right?
Yeah. They're actually video games. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So now there's that again, and I mean he is like bang 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 bang, and he's just constantly shooting them for fucking ages. So you have these 2 guys, and they just won't die. And then once they're dead, he kind of walks 2 steps, and now another 2 people come around, and he has to do that again. So yeah, that's the
So
thing.
with the first one, it's like, okay, it's much more, it's almost more grounded.
Yeah, it's way more grounded because even in the first one, in the kind of disco place. Remember when he's going there to hunt down your man, and he manages to get away, and he does fight some chaps, and one of them picks him up and chucks him off the balcony. No interruption. He just falls, hits the balcony, and he's getting up and he's limping, and he's like, "Oh my god, that really fucked me up!" Like, you know what I mean? He has to go and get bandaged up and everything. Like now in this, his car hits him, and then another car hits him, and then he falls out of an airplane. A nuke hits him, and he's fucking fine, kicking the crap out of everybody. So over exaggerations, but so that's the thing. The first one grounds everything, where it's like, and also in the first one they build up John Wick into being the villain, sort of. Like, because usually you don't ever have that sort of monologue of fear. Usually that only happens when it's like Gandalf talking about Sauron or anyone talking about Voldemort. Usually it's the villain. Darth Vader gets the big scary entrance, or Darth Sidious. But the first movie actually talks about John Wick in that way, which is building this mythos and mythology. And yeah, I think that just the first one just perfectly balances it all.
So
I
with
think
the
then
relation to the second one, then, right? So is it better than the second one?
Yeah, the second one's my least favorite.
Okay, interesting.
So it goes first, third, fourth, second.
Oh, okay. So you like the third one more than this one?
That's better than this one?
Halle Berry.
It balances the story and the combat.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because again, it's 2 hours of combat for this movie and 49 minutes of story.
Yeah.
But in the other one, they see. I kind of feel like, as enjoyable and awesome as this movie was, this movie does feel like this could have been just the end of the third one if they plotted it out sort of smarter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be interested. Yeah, I'm interested to check it out then, because the third one is
I
definitely my
see
least favorite.
Oh, okay.
Like, I actually really disliked the third one.
I think I preferred the third one to the second one as well. I think the second one is my least favorite.
All right.
I actually one thing I really dislike about the whole series is the introduction of the bulletproof suits. I never liked it, even since the second one. I was like, it just seems so silly.
It is silly. You're right, Eric.
But it is from the second one onwards. They're now video game movies.
Yeah. I want to ask one last question before we move on from John Wick, and that is, how is the great late Lance Reddick?
He's awesome. He's always awesome. He just talks, and it's like I could sleep on a pillow of your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so good, isn't he? He just says, he doesn't have to say much, but he's just got this quality.
Yeah, he's just, welcome, Mr. Wick. And he's like, yeah, all right, this is awesome. I'm at home now.
Great stuff. Amazing.
You know the way our mom says that? Welcome, Mr. Chris.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything I could do for you? Well, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. Amazing actor. And let us know, guys, if you've seen John Wick Chapter 4, what did you think of it? Please don't spoil it on us, but let us know, what did you think of it, and where do you rank the John Wick movies? So we've gotten nostalgic, talking about a 20-year album, and then we've talked about John Wick, action hero. Let's combine those two. Let's get nostalgic and John Wick to talk about the Resident Evil 4 remake. I've been playing it. Eric, you've probably been playing more of it, because I only started playing it yesterday at time of recording.
Oh yeah,
you had it like 2 days before that.
I Thursday. So I actually managed to get it a day before the release.
I believe, Adam, you haven't jumped into it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a copy. I think that's a good sign. I can't get a copy. Like, it's actually sold out.
What about PS4?
No, it's sold out everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't.
Fucking hell.
You can get it. So I was looking at. So I wanted to get it from Smith's Toys.
Yeah.
Because that's the. I think that's the cheapest price for it.
Yes.
They have them in stock, but only in stores. They're not doing home delivery.
Okay.
But you'd have to go there to get it.
Like that's a trek. I might as well get it from GameStop then, because the amount it will cost to
go
there. Because I think it's like a 10 or more. It could be even 15 quid more in GameStop.
Yeah.
But GameStop's out of stock.
Wow.
And then I tried Argos. That's out of stock, and they're our only providers.
Yes.
And I do want to get it physically. So.
Yeah, you don't want a digital copy. I get it. Well, look, guys, we're going to be talking non-spoilers for Resident Evil 4. I don't know what stages Eric is at. He might have cleared it 6 times now. I don't know.
They've actually given me a whole new trophy. They're just like, this guy is too ridiculous. We have to give him something better.
Out of curiosity, Eric, how far are you? Have you finished it?
No, I haven't finished it. That's not ridiculous here. I'd say about halfway.
Like, just name a chapter, like chapter number. We don't know what that is, sure. Like, what chapter are you on? Because there is chapters in the game.
9.
Cool. I'm on chapter 5.
Okay. I'm in the castle. Let's put it that way. I'm in the castle.
You're in the castle. Yeah. I'm not. So Okay. So for context of the original game, I have met Ashley. I'm with Ashley for the
Okay.
first time.
Okay.
You're in the castle. So and Adam
Hmm.
is at home. But I think the best way to do this then is like we're going to talk about this non-spoiler, but Adam, I think you will now represent the players who have not played the remake.
Mm.
And if there's anything you want to know about the game, and again, we won't spoil it, and that might sound weird. I know people are like, but it's a remake of a game that we've played so many times and imported to everything. But it's like, but the whole fun of a remake is seeing, unless it's The Last of Us Part 1, what have they changed? What have they done different?
It's
Does
there, yeah.
everything
I think
everything happen the way you expect it to happen? Or and even from playing the demo, I think you could tell that there are some differences, and there is.
the
Capcom have
closest
changed some of the things that happen.
the closest comparison I think is the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's like
Whoa, you think so? I don't think so.
as it stuff is different, but also the same,
Yeah,
and also
yeah,
graphically
yeah,
awesome.
okay.
And you're like,
Well, graphically, this game is fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Apart from the rain.
the rain is not great.
Is
The
it like
rain is awful.
GTA remastered style rain?
Yeah,
Remember
it
San
looks
It's not
Andreas?
far off. Yeah, it's not far off.
Looks like milk.
Yes, it looks like milk falling from the sky, and it's
Yeah,
like,
I've got like I think it's really interesting, the Ori engine in general, because when I think Seven's the first one to do it, is it? Seven the first
Yeah, I
one to
think
do
so.
Ori engine?
Yes, yeah.
I was never really mad on the Ori engine, and I remember people like being like blown away by it, but I've always found that the textures were never great. In some cases, they're brilliant. Lighting is generally really good in the Ori engine.
Yes.
But the textures were always strange, like where everything kind of felt a little plasticky almost.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Right,
it has
okay.
developed along the way, but I still felt even in the Chainsaw demo, the graphics aren't as good as I was nearly expecting.
Right.
Across the board, I guess there's certain areas where it's like that's incredible, but just the kind of across the board, it always looks great when you take a screenshot, but in motion, I don't think it really. I think it could be better. I don't think it's as good as, like, let's say Unreal Engine.
oh well, Unreal Engine, like, it's just ridiculous. At
It's
this
unreal.
point.
It
It's
is unreal.
unreal.
Eric, did you put on hair strand mode?
You
No,
can do
I
that.
played the fucking game.
There's like a mode in the menu where you could flip it on or off, and it makes the hair strands move a bit more, right?
Oh, so it's
Now,
like
not,
the
not
Trails
like
effects.
RE7 crazy, but I mean, fucking hell, like it's like a fucking CGI movie. It's crazy.
I'll stick that on. I did
So
not know that
what?
was an
Yeah,
option.
what? So there's obviously more tweaking features then available in
There
the
is,
final
yeah.
game. Is there what else? Is there? They have like the ray tracing and things like that, but
Yeah, yeah. Like there's not a load more. That's just one that as I was flicking down, I noticed that and I went, "What is that?" And it's automatically off.
yeah.
So I just flipped it on and I thought, well, if it gets annoying, I'll just turn it off again. You know what I mean?
Did that
At any
impact
point
any of
during
the
the
game?
game, no,
Smooth.
no, yeah, yeah. And at any point, like I've had no frame rate issues or anything.
No.
Yeah, literally the first time in this game that I've actually went no is the rain. That is the only thing I've experienced so far. And again, I acknowledge that I'm quite early in the game. Realistically, I'm like 4.5 hours in or something like that. But that's the only thing that's actually made me go, no. Actually, there's one other thing, and it's more of a design thing. Is the dog enemies?
Mm.
I think they look crap.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily down to just like graphics. I think they're not designed well. They don't look good.
Are they based off of the OG dogs, or do they do a different?
They're based off the
design?
OG dogs, but I don't remember the OG dogs having such big fucking mouths.
Yes, so they kind of have they have these red eyes, kind of like the wolf, I suppose, from 300.
Right.
That kind of idea.
Yeah.
And then they are black, but they do have these like big, ridiculously long, almost like a smile on their face with these big teeth.
Oh,
And it just doesn't really look
Yeah.
as good as if they just had the dog
Mm.
and then the parasite bursting out of it. If they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
had,
yeah.
I think if they had it just kind of kept it like with the people, You know what I mean? It doesn't really affect the dog's appearance. I think would have been better and
Yeah, I think that would have been
scarier.
scarier, definitely. Um,
It
oh,
looks like cartoony and childish or something like that. The
yeah, it
design.
does. It really does. The only other, actually, sorry, the only other con I have so far is
Jeez, every time you talk, there's another one.
Some of the voice acting. I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of Resident
That's
Evil.
kind of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
You were nearly a Jill sandwich. Like you
I've
just
never
gotta. That's
really been blown away by Resident Evil's voice acting.
but apart from that, I'm loving this game.
How does this stack up against? I know, like, yes, I haven't cleared it, but
Yeah.
I think the biggest comparison here now is going to be Dead Space remake.
Mm.
How does it compare to that? Is that just more of a matter of taste? Like maybe if you prefer more action based, then you might like Resident Evil, or but just regardless from that, because like some people are going to prefer Dead Space
Absolutely.
over Resident Evil anyway. But just
Yeah.
in terms of approaching a well loved game and reinventing it and bringing it up into the modern era, which approach was more effective? Do you think?
What do you think, Eric? As someone who cleared Dead Space and is much further into Resident Evil 4.
Well, Dead Space as a remake is nearly, is nearly a shot for shot kind of remake with then just a few little additional things, like side quests or you know what I mean. You don't always have to get on the tram to go to the next location. You can just kind of go from one place to the next. So therefore, by the end of the game, you can just kind of go all over the ship without even having to go on a tram. Oh, that's a tough question, Adam. I don't like that question.
It is a fucking tough question.
Yeah, they both tackled it really fucking good because they are actually both very similar. But Dead Space is closer to the original than the Resi 4 remake is.
Really?
Yeah, you could maybe compare the Dead Space remake with like the Resident Evil 1 remake. You know, where they're really trying to keep intact the original vision, but just update the visual and feel of it. Now, there is actual gameplay additions to Dead Space that make the remake the best version of that game to play, to the point where you don't even need to play the OG one now. Just play the remake. Like, it is that good. They really did a stellar job at homaging the original work of the classic, you know. But it's not to the point of like, you benefit more from having played the original. Not really. Like it's just
the opposite to Resi 4. Do you think?
In some ways, yeah. Resi 4, you can absolutely play this and not play the original, and that's fine. I think you'll appreciate it that a little bit more if you've played the original. Just
yeah, I think Final Fantasy 7
the way they're tweaking things. So yeah,
like that
in
too.
that sense, I get that.
Yeah.
But I suppose Resident Evil 4 is the Final Fantasy 7 of the Resident Evil series.
That's
as
what I said.
as in the OG.
Oh, right. Yeah,
the OG
sorry,
game. It is because everyone played it, regardless of whether they're into the series or not, and it was a big departure from the series. So it's like so many people play Final Fantasy 7, never touched another Final Fantasy game. I have no interest in Final Fantasy. And then you've got your Final Fantasy purists who are like, no, 6 is the best. And then you've got your average gamer who's like, 7 is the best. It's the only one I've played. Resident Evil is like that. Resident Evil 4, like, people say, oh, one of the best games ever made, right? Then you got your hardcore Resident Evil fans who are like, Resident Evil 2 was always the best. Resident Evil 4 is too action heavy. And then you got your average gamers like, yeah, well, Resident Evil 4 is the only one I played. So, and it sold consoles. It sold,
Does
the
the
GameCube
remake
originally. So,
does the remake kind of maintain that analogy? Too action heavy?
Very action heavy, but I find more so in shit, get away from me sort of moment. Like where I'm kind of like, I think there was one time I was going up somewhere and there was a trip mine. So I kind of ducked down underneath it and there was some chap and I fought those two. And then I was like kind of looking around the area. Then all of a sudden I just heard the mine go off and I was like, what the fuck? And two other guys like were coming up, sneaking up behind me. So sometimes enemies will sneak up behind you and sneak around you and so that sort of shit. And so therefore, while yes, it's much more action heavy, I would compare it almost to the start of Resident Evil 8. You know, when you first fight the Lycans in that, it's
Mm.
action heavy, but you're also stressed as fuck and you're running out of bullets. It's like that.
I think 8 probably eased Resident Evil players, the new ones, into 4
Mm.
a bit.
Yeah,
right?
very
Is that
possible. Yeah.
because going from Ori 2 and Ori 3 to Ori 4, is there a huge jump in the action versus the survival, or does it make more sense to go, the way they've in order of release, the way 8 has kind of funneled you into a more action heavy approach, and then 4?
Well, so I assume we're talking about the remakes. No, I think if you played Resi 2, Resi 3, and Resi 4, I think you would be fine. Resi 2 is way more definitely you're walking through this game. You're not gonna run because you're just too on edge. Resi 3, you're almost forced to have to run all the time because of Nemesis. And there's that like dodge mechanic as well, where if you perfectly dodge, you slow down time and you start shooting. So it is way more kind of action heavy based.
It introduces it a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, so then when you go to Resi 4, you're like, oh, well, I've already played as Jill the Badass, so now I'm playing as Leon the Badass with his parrying and all that sort of stuff. And his cheesy one-liners, because they are in it, and some of them are great. There's some additional ones. There's some additional ones that just like I think you would have experienced in the demo when you run and you shoot the yoke to burn the barn and the cow runs out on fire.
Sure, yeah.
And he's like, build me for the repairs. It's like, who says that? Like, who? Like, there's just sometimes he says things. So it's like, this is great, but also, why would you say that? That's just, it's the most ridiculous reaction to have in this situation. But
yeah. But yeah, no, Leon's a badass. He there's a cool moment with a chain, and it's it's just pure Leon awesome. It's just like, this is fucking great. There's a lot like the cutscenes are incredible, genuinely incredible. They're like fucking movies. It's like a fucking movie that you're playing, and he is like John Wicking these things. It's so, I think it's so fun to play. Like even the silly little. So this game has requests, which is basically side missions,
like shooting the blue medallions is one of them.
things like that.
That type of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
And they are, I think they're so fun. Like that little, those
Addition.
extra.
I'd probably get a
things
little
to
bit
do.
sidetracked and just do all them.
I've done a lot of them. There's one that I feel like I have missed because I think they're kind of area specific, and it's kind of like while you're in this area, you could do these things, and there's good rewards for doing them. But I think I've missed one.
Which one did you miss?
Back. I don't want to say. I know they're only side quests, but I don't want to give too many things away.
Well, obviously I'm further than you, and I've done all of them.
Okay.
Well, not all of them, but all the ones that have been presented to me.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
The menu for upgrading your weapons and buying stuff is great. Tuning up and everything is still there. Your little mini game of moving things around in your attaché case is as fun as it's ever been. Every time I pick up items, like, gotta reorganize. Stop what I'm doing. Reorganize what I'm doing.
The shooting range, they have the shooting range in it. So you have to shoot them to get little charms that give you benefits. Like you could have one, and it's like when you're crafting some machine gun ammo, you get 30% more or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. So
one
you
of the
get those
worries
rewards.
I was having, I think, looking at it and going into it, was the knife durability. How did that play out? Was that a worry for you at all? Because I know when I'm playing 2, I'm really conscious about using a knife. Does that come into it at all, or how does that work out in it?
So you have the combat knife, and then you can pick up like kitchen knives or boot knives or something like that, which have less durability.
Oh, neat.
But the thing about the combat knife is when you go to the merchant, you can repair it.
Nice.
Yeah, so if it runs out, next time you get to the merchant, you pay to get it repaired again. So you always have your combat knife, and it's like as if it runs out of ammo.
Okay.
And to kind of get it going again is like, you got to visit the merchant. I think it's good. I think it's great because the knife is quite strong, and you can upgrade the knife too. Its durability and its power. But like, you could absolutely spam the shit out of that thing. And like, a friend of mine killed the El Gigante with a knife once. So I think it's clever to kind of make it like, oh, will I or won't I use this? You know, and it's like I could stealth kill all these enemies,
But then I want that
but
knife. Yeah.
how long before I run out of a knife?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like it makes the like Resident Evil has always been about like making choices in terms of your equipment and things like that. And I think they've done a clever thing of like all the action is still there, but you're now making choices of, or even like those kitchen knives that you can pick up. You can also use them to craft bolts for a new weapon. So now you're making a choice of, do I need more knives or do I need more bolts? Which am I going to, you know what I mean? You're constantly making decisions about sacrificing resources.
That's cool.
To create new resources.
So it's a good addition.
How do you want to use them?
The knife durability.
I think so. I actually really like it.
Is there any addition, like, okay, so story-wise, obviously there's going to be additions and you don't really know, but from a gameplay perspective, is there any additions that you're not too keen on? Or is everything just like, yes, this is masterfully done?
I love being able to move and shoot. It felt great in the demo. It feels amazing in the game. I love hotkeying weapons and being able to swap between them seamlessly and not having to open the case every time you want to change gun. I think that's incredible. There's a moment where you get to like control a boat. You get to move around in a boat to different areas, and I thought that drove really badly. You couldn't like move the camera around, and so I found like I wanted to go to certain places, and I kept having to open the big map to tell where I was because I couldn't move the camera to kind of see the landmarks. So I thought that was really kind of piss poor in a way. Like it's cool driving the boat and it's cool like that you can do these little side activities, but yeah, I just wanted more control with the camera there, and also I wish there was a quicker way to open the map.
All right, so is it like you press?
Maybe there is a quicker way. I find you have to push triangle to get your like menu up and then scroll over to map.
No?
Just press the trackpad.
Oh my god! It was on this podcast I learned that.
We have these discussions, folks. We answered the most important questions. How?
Why?
The map?
The question is, why didn't I fucking try that? I just sort of assumed that you have to go.
The
okay
controller then, was there any moments that, like, as we mentioned in the demo, how walking across the drawbridge was a moment that really you felt that in the haptics? Are there any moments, you don't have to say what the moment is, but was there anything that like where the controller you really felt something, obviously on the PS5, that the haptics were really noticeable or you thought was really cool?
Yes, and actually I won't spoil the sequence, but there was a moment where Leon sat down and my controller felt like just fucking went vibration mode. I was like, I'm down. You just sat down on the couch. Like, what the fuck? Like, that was actually the biggest vibration I felt out of everything else happening. Just him sitting down.
Maybe just ripped one.
Yeah, he might have.
Just with acid, he just farted like. Okay, I'm obviously not there yet. I've apart from bridges, I haven't.
You haven't unlocked the ripping.
I haven't unlocked the farting.
That's actually it's a special mode. It like the hair thing. It's called ripping mode. Every time Leon walks.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of people turn it on because they think it has something to do with the chainsaw, and then they're really disappointed that it's not. It's
I prefer because you're just hearing all the ganados going
it's
around.
It's really unfortunate though, doesn't it? Because like it just brings down the durability of your pants, and then you have to go upgrade your pants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I upgrade, but you can upgrade the firepower of your arse. So
yeah, you can shoot up your ass. There's also great, especially if you've played the OG, it's really nice. They do this in all the Resident Evil games anyway, but there's, completion points for doing certain challenges and things, which you can use to buy concept art and models, that kind of thing to look at.
Love that. Collectibles.
Yeah.
There is so many models.
Yeah, there's so many. And there's a lot of, I feel like Resident Evil is always a series that prides itself on being replayable. And I feel like there's so many ways you could replay this game, not only in your approach to sequences and the different difficulties that you could do, but then also the various weapons you could fully, power up or upgrade, or just the different outfits that you can seemingly get when you complete the game and
Okay.
things like that. The gun animations and sound effects are fucking awesome. It sounds so good.
Yeah,
And feel great.
I even noticed in the UI, like when you have your pistol and it shows how much bullets you have in your
Mm-hmm.
in your clip. It always has it's like there'll be like a +1.
That's counting the bullet
one
that's
in the
already
chamber.
in the
I think
chamber.
that's such a great attention to
Yeah,
detail.
yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
Like,
And I
also,
love this, like,
you know what's
just
in your clip. Yeah.
Yeah. I love as well the attention to detail. Sometimes he will check the gun and everything like that, and the way he's reloading is different depending on whether you're just emptying the mag or there's still bullets in it. Like, you know what
It
I mean?
sounds like they've went above and beyond what was really necessary to make a great game. That is kind of rare to see these days. I think. Like,
yeah.
Games obviously are better than they've ever been,
Mhm.
but in the past it used to always be like these just unnecessary attention to detail. Like, even, and I think the original Resident Evil 4 was one of those games that really pushed. Like, they actually went out and recorded real life guns. Like, they got the actual gun, let's say, and recorded someone firing it to get those realistic sounds, and it was kind of groundbreaking for the time to do things like that. So they put a lot of love and attention into the OG one anyway. It sounds like they're kind of reapproaching designing games again.
they are making as well with this. They probably went through all that attention to detail to get everything to feel very realistic and get all the sound designs and everything. But they probably also did sit down and watch every John Wick movie, because it's just Leon sometimes is just very John Wick. Like, so if an enemy is too close to you, let's say, and you take out your gun, he will aim it the way John Wick would when someone's up close to him, and you're just like shooting away at them and stuff like that. It's a great game, man. Get a copy, rob it.
Yeah, I'm just like every day I just check the stock, and the moment it becomes available, I'm ordering that shit. Like, I could get it digitally, but I just
you want the
I
physical
want to have
copy,
it,
man.
man. I want to have it.
Yeah. No,
You want that
I hear
tasty
you.
booklet.
There's
I
no
give him
booklets.
There's no booklet. I wish there was booklets. There's no booklets.
They should bring booklets back.
But yeah, for like even just going back to the model viewer, actually.
Mm.
So with most games, like even if you take Uncharted, it's always model viewers are always things like the characters, the enemies, the protagonists, the antagonists, the little minions, maybe like a jeep or something like that. This is the protagonist, the antagonists, all the enemies, all the animals, all the weapons, and the fucking treasures. So you can get like the antique clock and just start like examining it.
I think the original was like that.
Was it? I thought it was just all the characters,
like the major characters.
No, because I remember
thought.
being able to look at the weapons and things like that, and
Okay.
you could look at the treasures and things. Yeah, but maybe that was only when you had them on person. You could open them up and view the model, like rotating. No, maybe it was just that more so than actually collectible.
Yeah, I thought it
can't
was
really
just
remember.
because
I
I thought it
remember
was
seeing models of them, of course.
Yeah, because I thought it was in the original. It was doing the shooting range
And
allowed
them
you
on
to
the
get
the little
little
thing.
token guys. Yeah.
There's some interesting dialogue from the merchant that has me thinking that their kind of explanation. Now, this is only a theory based on what the merchant says. There's no, at least so far, no confirmation of this, and I don't think it's a spoiler anyway. But I think they're suggesting that there's multiple merchants. I think every time you meet a merchant at a different spot, it's actually a different merchant, because like they're all covered up or whatever. He keeps saying we. Like, we really appreciate this, or we have a new request for you, or something like that. Or, and then maybe that's just a thing. But I don't know. I get the sense that there's like an organization of merchants here. Maybe. I have no idea.
Yeah, unless he's the we in the Smeagol sense, or a we in a.
I did get that sense that there was a merchants guild, and probably the Duke was a part of it. So I thought it was
it's
like
different characters.
It's the same merchant,
maybe.
because it is the same voice. So it would be
it is the same voice. Yeah.
And like, but that it was, yes, you had him in Spain and you had the Duke in
where
Transylvania
that
or
was.
wherever the
Where
hell
is
that
that one
was.
based? Like Lithuania or something? Is it, or?
Eastern Europe. They never actually
They
say.
wouldn't specify the actual place.
I think they should have. Yeah.
Romania, maybe, I think, is kind of what they're hinting at.
I love the way they won't specify that place because they don't want to maybe insult or. But this is Spain.
Well, they
Did they
never
not
actually
specify
say Spain.
No?
Even though everyone's speaking Spanish and they have Spanish names and shit, they just say Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder where in Europe they speak Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ashley so far is not annoying.
I seen this post going around. I seen it on Twitter, and I think it's very obviously a joke, but it's not being shared in that manner.
Oh,
it's a Steam review.
Okay.
It's a long fucking review, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But some of the points that this person was making was things like, no Ashley saying, you pervert. No Ashley saying, hey, what are you looking at? No animation of Ashley covering her skirt when you try to look up and see her panties, and so on. And it gets even more, like, ridiculous. Like, there'd be things like, no, like, cheating the camera when you throw a certain thing and look that way, and then the camera.
Oh,
forces
right.
it. So it's.
Right.
I think it's obviously a joke because it gets so.
We're just saying like the game sucks because you can't do all these things that are in the original, right?
It gets so precise, but I think it's actually trying to make the point of how ridiculous the first one was, the original. But it's not being shared that way, and I don't. It's kind of unfortunate no one's getting the meta joke here, but
okay, interesting. Yeah.
But so they've improved her. That's what you're saying.
So far, so good. I don't know. Obviously, maybe she's going to get annoying. I don't know, but so far,
just wait until you get hit really bad by an enemy and you're almost dead. You will get the most Otacon reaction. Like she really like screams at like, Leon, no. And I'm like, Ashley, calm down, I'm fine. I'm just gonna get a green herb and it'll be grand. Like I fell off the balcony, hit the metal pipe, it'd be grand. I'm gonna kick the crap out of 10 guys.
Man, there's so many because the thing that drew me to the original was the kind of Metal Gear Solidisms of it. You know, you're a spy going to save the president's daughter from a group of terrorists, essentially, and you've got a codec with Hunnigan on the comms. And this game also has like big Metal Gear Solid vibes to it. It's fucking cool.
Maybe this is the closest we'll get to a Metal Gear remake.
Maybe I think the stealth helps. Having stealth as an option, something I never knew I wanted, but I was like, fuck. Every time I do a stealth kill, I feel like I'm a soldier. Just in now, it's like why isn't there a bigger cavalry here? Sure, there's plot holes all over the place, but that's in the OG too, so you just got to go with it. You're a singular soldier and you got to save the president's daughter. That's it.
That's not necessarily the mission, though, is it? You didn't realize what you were going into, right? You were just kind of investigating.
As soon as you did, though.
yeah. He lost all comms, right? And then he has to call in whatever his face is.
Do you remember, like in the OG, Leon passes out for a few hours, and Hunnigan's like, "You've been out for like 6 hours," and he's like, "Oh, really?" And in that time, they sent nobody to investigate that. Yeah, it's really
there is no one. Okay,
there's nobody. There's only you, Leon. Maybe Mike somewhere out there.
Well, yeah, like they do. There is that ridiculous thing as well, where like his reaction to being stabbed with a pitchfork and chopped with an axe and grabbed and choked by a whole village of people is just, where's everyone going? Bingo. Hey, Hunnigan, people are weird here, but I'm going to keep going. Don't send anyone, by the way, to give me a hand with the fact that the entire village is trying to kill me.
That's the charm of it, right?
It's still not copying it, right? It's just like, man, they're really hostile to tourists here. I'm going to give a bad review on TripAdvisor. Wouldn't recommend.
I would not recommend this place. I mean, fuck me. Eric, I'm curious, like, when you get, obviously, maybe, depending on how the end turns out, might determine your feelings towards it, but I'm curious which one. Like, do you enjoy this more than the Dead Space remake? Or do you think that they're two very different experiences? Like, because I feel like the two are going to get compared this year.
Yeah, but the two are two very different experiences. Because in this one, I find myself running around more. Even if it's not to do with enemies, I'm just running around more, probably because the map is way bigger. But in Dead Space, I was like, oh my God, I'm walking through this really tight hallway and I'm gonna die. Right. But with Leon, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna kick ass and then realize, oh no, never mind, I'm gonna die. Run away. Um, so I think they are two very different experiences, but I think Resident Evil 4 is going to provide more replayability, and therefore that will be a much more enjoyable game to play because it just you're going back and you're doing all the challenges. You can clear it in apparently 8 hours. So that's a challenge.
Or you can get to a point where you can, you know, where everything is, and
yeah, you know when you're like they always have the speed
your
running.
speed run.
Yeah,
but still, that's the longest speed run ever.
It is the longest
for a Resi game.
Yeah,
so that's long. Still like,
so this could be this. You reckon this is the longest Resident Evil? Out of all the remakes and the new ones.
Oh, definitely. Well, the original was the longest anyway, wasn't it?
At that time, yeah, I think so.
Oh well,
was it longer than one though?
Technically, yeah.
Was all right. Okay, I always got the impression one's pretty long.
No, it's not. Ori 6 is the longest actually, but not any one particular campaign. It's because to play the whole game, you have to play the game fucking 4 times. So technically, that's the longest one. It's like 30 hours or something of just fucking torment.
I think the part that takes the longest is actually the will to turn it on.
The will to turn it on and hit start.
That takes a while.
And
you might just like diverge over to YouTube maybe.
Watch
you'll be kind of okay playing as Leon. You'll be going, I kind of recognize this, and then you might give this Jake guy a go, and you'll go, oh, what the fuck.
I cleared Leon's story, and then I was like, right, let's play Chris's because this is next on the list. I got halfway, and I think there was someone reviewing Resident Evil 6 saying that one of the ridiculous things about it is when you're fighting a boss, they don't give you ammo. So if you run out of ammo, that's it. And that was happening to me. I was running out of ammo fighting this invisible giant snake. So not only could I not see it because it was invisible, I couldn't even see if it had like those weird, you know, like when you're fighting Grey Fox, he's got that little outline, so you can kind of see him. So there is supposed to be that. Couldn't see it because the lighting was bad. Also, the camera angle was really bad, so I just couldn't see the snake, and I was running out of ammo, and it was eating me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna rage quit this game and play something better." That's my review of Resident Evil 6.
There you go.
But Resident Evil 4 does not have that problem. You can see all your enemies because they're.
And sometimes they'll wish you didn't.
Yeah, so they'll wish you didn't, and they'll give you ammo, which is nice, and you craft ammo as well.
You can, yeah. No, I'm having so much fucking fun with this game, to be honest. Collecting resources.
Would this be your favorite game of the year so far?
So far, yes, probably. And I'm only fucking on chapter 5. Yes, probably.
A lot more.
But like, there's an element of like, I think you'll enjoy this game anyway. But I do think that it helps having that little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like things you want to happen, and you're not sure if they're going to happen, and then you're kind of impressed with the way in which they address it instead, and you're like, wow. Fuck, you know.
Awesome.
And plus, I had a moment that I can't talk about right now, but I mean, when we can talk about it, I can't wait to talk about it. I put the controller down and I put my fist in the air and I said, yes!
I think I might be able to guess what that would be.
I was so excited. And that's like, there's so much of the game is like that, you know? It's just...
Right.
Yeah, but I can imagine a fucking new player just be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But so that's what I mean by like having played the original does help increase the enjoyment that bit more. I think in a similar way to like, you know, when I gave my review of Hogwarts Legacy, actually, I was like, I think if you're into RPGs, it's a good game and you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it way more if you're a Harry Potter fan on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
Because all that stuff suddenly is just like, wow, oh my god, that's from this or that's from that.
Yeah, there's like little references to like deep cut lore.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's just that kind of thing, you know. And there's also like really cool expansions on the lore in this game. Like read everything you can find. Like they're taking really cool liberties or like expanding on like, you know, you could find notes on like the villagers at one point what they thought of the aristocrats who lived in the castle, and like really cool background information.
Yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
there's a very cool thing I noticed when exploring the world of Europe, because we don't know it's Spain, but Spain, where it looks like that there was a belief system before the Las Plagas.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So there's imagery for that as well, which is very cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what I think is cool is the puzzles have been referenced but reworked. So you can't just go in and go, I remember how to do this puzzle, because
Oh,
they've
cool.
reworked
Okay.
it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't just go, well, I like they didn't just port the exact same puzzle over. They did
Yeah.
a reinterpretation of the puzzle that so you'll get to a point where you go, I recognize that puzzle, but because they've kind of slightly moved it or reworked it, it's not the exact same solution.
Yeah, the amount of times where it's just kind of like click, move, click, move, click, move. At some point, I'm going to get this with some of the puzzles.
All right.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely guessing.
I think most of the
yeah.
puzzles though in the OG was like, here's a gate, you're missing 3 pieces, and then you run or you go somewhere, and then you find, like, it's like an hour later you find a piece and you go, what the fuck do I do with this? And then somehow you manage to find all 3 pieces, and then you backtrack and you get back to that door and you go, oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to be looking for these 3 pieces, and then you put the 3 pieces in, the door opens, and you like, it's not really a puzzle as such as it's just a go find the objects.
A treasure hunt.
Yeah.
So there's a mix of that here too. Yeah, you have your treasure hunting and stuff, and as well as little puzzles. The puzzles are never like impossible to figure out or anything like that.
No.
Sometimes it's just a case of looking at the environment, and then sometimes it is just a case of I'm gonna play around with this for a while, rotate this until I get it right. Basically,
Yeah.
it could take time, but it's certainly not. I don't think you'd be like stuck on it for days. Like there used to be a time where you play old PS1 or PS2 games. You're like, man, I'm stuck on this puzzle, and like, fuck, I've tried it. I keep rage quitting because I can't get this fucking puzzle. Nothing like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
Any other questions about the game, Anna, before we wrap up our kind of non-spoiler first impressions of the game?
No, I think I just need to, I need to just get it, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Totally,
actually
totally.
you were saying that there could possibly be a free upgrade from previous gen to new gen. Is that definite? Is that, do you know if that's a definite? Because I don't want to be
Googled it.
fucking buying it and
No, I know what you're
turns
saying.
out.
I googled it and it said it was true. But maybe someone can clarify that, or if there's like a
Well,
video out there of someone doing it. I think you can. But
They did it with the Horizon one, which was pretty handy. But yeah, maybe double check Resi 4.
when I googled it said you can.
Yeah, because I think the Resi 7, I think, was a free upgrade. Resi 8, I think, was a free upgrade. They're pretty good with that shit. And they are the same
Capcom are
price.
fucking awesome, aren't they?
So
Capcom's doing very good.
Yeah, I think that's why it is the same price. I think
Yeah,
they're looking at
yeah.
it going, well, like even if
just
you
get
buy
it.
this, you
I
can
think
get
that's-
the PS5 version.
it's a good approach. So I might see about, because that copy might actually, no, that copy would be harder to get. More people have PS4, so don't know. I kind of have a feeling that it might be available physically on the Xbox, and I want to get it on the PS5 just because when we played the demo, that
The haptics.
the haptics really did stand out, and I really want to
Yeah.
experience that side of it. So yeah, I'll just hold off and wait till that's available.
Oh, do you wish
know.
you pre-ordered it?
Yeah, I kind of just didn't. I don't know why I just didn't expect it to be. I think it's probably because of the previous games that I've kind of pre-ordered and then you get it. Most of those games were readily available after launch anyway.
Sure.
I really just wasn't expecting this to be, and I think that's a good sign actually.
It's a great sign. Yeah, this game. I look. We'll see how it goes when we've all finished it and stuff, and we will be doing a spoiler talk in the future, guys. So do make sure you're subscribed or following the podcast for that. I think this is 100% going to be a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah, well, it sounds like this and Dead Space are going to be up against each other, and the competition coming out this year is going to be pretty high.
I mean, there's a lot more games to come, and the quality of the games coming this year is fucking crazy. This is just ridiculous. But I do think this game will stand out as one of those, whatever the 5 or 6 that are in the Game of the Year list. I think this is going to be in there.
It will stand out as a game that was released in 2023, where
This is
the
definitely
combat
one
is
of the
present.
games of the
This
year.
is one of the games of the year. This game, it has the graphics
Yeah.
and the action.
Yes.
The bad guys are villainous, and the heroes are heroic.
Well, anyway, guys, those have just been our first impressions of Resident Evil 4 Remake. If you've been playing it, please do let us know. Please don't give away any story-specific spoilers. None of us have finished it. Adam hasn't even fucking started, so please don't spoil anything specific. Even though it's an old game, like a remake of an old game, the fun is in seeing what's different, what's changed, what's been added, that kind of stuff. But do let us know what you think of the game so far. So if you're watching YouTube, jump down in the comments to share your thoughts, or if you listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on Resident Evil 4 Remake, which we will be coming back to when we've all played it. We'll definitely be doing a spoiler cast on this one, so make sure you're following the podcast for that. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.